All right, B. Shara or B. Shara, I hope I'm saying his name right, left us a comment asking us if we've watched the video, The Inconvenient Truth About the Democratic Party. We haven't yet.
No.
So we about to.
When you think about racial equality and civil rights, which political party comes to mind? The Republicans or the Democrats?
Racial equality and civil rights. I didn't really think about either one of them.
Yeah. I can admit that it used to be the Democrat, that I used to think that the Democrat.
I know that's what they used to push.
Yeah. That's what they're pushing now.
But yeah, they still push.
We don't think that anymore.
But I never, and I think it's because my mom, though my mom has been a strong Democrat for the years that I've grown up, for sure. And I think just seeing her, like, I don't know if I want to call it hate, but
the hate that she had towards Republicans.
Yeah, and it felt like they're crooks and da 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 da. And I think in that I knew that what the media and everybody was trying to say, who was for like the black people and stuff. To me, I always just, for that reason, I looked at it as it was all just cap. Like it was never nobody. They all crooks.
Okay, so you never fully associated the Democratic Party with
I associated.
racial equality.
I did associate that they were pushing Democrats to be for the black people.
They're still doing that.
Most people would probably say the Democrats, but this answer is incorrect. Since its founding in 1829, the Democratic Party has fought against every major civil rights initiative and has a long history of discrimination. The Democratic Party defended slavery, started the Civil War, opposed Reconstruction, founded the Ku Klux Klan, imposed segregation, perpetrated lynchings, and fought against the Civil Rights Acts of the 1950s and 1960s.
Okay, now, I did not know that they founded the the KKK. Did you know that?
When she said it, it felt like a refresher.
Yeah.
I haven't seen this, but I've heard all of this stuff before.
Okay. It's like we heard it sounded familiar, but we didn't know for certain type of deal.
Yeah, I didn't know how deep the Democratic Party went into what they've been trying to say that they're not.
Got it.
In contrast, the Republican Party was founded in 1854 as an anti-slavery party. Its mission was to stop the spread of slavery into the new Western territories with the aim of abolishing it entirely. This effort, however, was dealt a major blow by the Supreme Court in the 1857 case Dred Scott versus Sandford. The court ruled that slaves aren't citizens, they're property. The 7 justices who voted in favor of slavery, all Democrats. The 2 justices who dissented, both Republicans. The slavery question was, of course, ultimately resolved by a bloody civil war.
The Supreme Court? I guess I can't be shocked about that. They all crooks. She said that the Republican Party's mission was to end slavery, but then the Supreme Court came in and prevented them from doing so.
Because the Democrats was majority in the House.
Yes, 7-2.
Ultimately resolved by a bloody civil war. The commander-in-chief during that war was the first Republican president, Abraham Lincoln, the man who freed the slaves. 6 days after.
Wait a minute. Okay, I knew Abraham Lincoln was Republican. I didn't know he was the first Republican president.
Was he?
That's what she just said.
She didn't say that.
Yes, she did.
The commander-in-chief during that war was the first Republican president, Abraham Lincoln.
How do we not know that?
He was the first Republican.
That's what she said. We can also look it up and confirm.
Interesting.
It is very.
That's who they say freed the slave.
He did. He was a president at the time when the Civil War took place. And the Civil War was to end slavery.
Yeah.
6 days after the Confederate Army surrendered, John Wilkes Booth, a Democrat, assassinated President Lincoln. Lincoln's vice president, a Democrat named Andrew Johnson, assumed the presidency. But Johnson adamantly opposed Lincoln's plan to integrate the newly freed slaves.
His vice president was a Democrat?
Yes.
He is a Republican?
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
I didn't even know that could be a thing.
I ain't neither. I guess I need to do more research, because...
You and me both.
How... Yeah, okay.
Listen, we're new to this politics thing. I mean, not to excuse our ignorance, but we're learning.
Into the South's economic and social order. Johnson and the Democratic Party were unified in their opposition to the 13th Amendment, which abolished slavery, the 14th Amendment, which gave blacks citizenship, and the 15th Amendment, which gave blacks the vote. All three passed only because of universal Republican support. During the era of Reconstruction, federal troops stationed in the South helped secure rights for the newly freed slaves. Hundreds of black men were elected to Southern state legislatures as Republicans, and 22 black Republicans served in the U.S. Congress by 1900. The Democrats did not elect a black man to Congress until 1935. But after Reconstruction ended, when the federal troops went home, Democrats roared back into power in the South. They quickly reestablished white supremacy across the region with measures like black codes, laws that restricted the ability of blacks to own property and run businesses, and they imposed poll taxes and literacy tests used to subvert black citizens' right to vote. And how was all of this enforced? By terror, much of it instigated by the Ku Klux Klan, founded by a Democrat, Nathan Bedford Forrest. As historian Eric Foner, himself a Democrat, notes, in effect, the Klan was a military force serving the interests of the Democratic Party. President Woodrow Wilson, a Democrat, shared many views with the Klan. He resegregated many federal agencies and even screened the first movie ever played at the White House, the racist film, The Birth of a Nation, originally entitled...
I heard about this film. I heard that, I think this is a film, that once they started showing this again, it like reignited the KKK or white supremacy. Like it had went away, I guess, for a little bit, and then, or wasn't as popular. Something like that. I think that's what I heard.
Originally entitled The Klansman. A few decades later, the only serious congressional opposition to the landmark Civil Rights Act of 1964 came from Democrats. 80% of Republicans in Congress supported the bill, less than 70% of Democrats did. Democratic senators filibustered the bill for 75 days until Republicans mustered the few extra votes needed to break the logjam. And when all of their efforts to enslave blacks, keep them enslaved, and then keep them from voting had failed, the Democrats came up with a new strategy. If black people are going to vote, they might as well vote for Democrats, as President Lyndon Johnson was purported to have said about the Civil Rights Act. I'll have them voting Democrat for 200 years.
I heard about them saying that.
What?
Yes. Yes. It all makes sense now, though, on why the Democratic Party is the way that they are now and why they cater to the black people.
Yeah.
It allows them to continue
To enslave the blacks, for sure.
We may not be enslaved by whips and chains, but we still enslaved by the EBT, the EBT, welfare, right?
Yeah.
All that, Section 8, all that falls under welfare. Single parent households.
Yeah. And you get more money. That's the thing, they give you more money if you're a single parent. You're a single mother.
Right, they're encouraging
being a single mother and locking up the fathers. Like,
they're encouraging the breakdown of the black family. It makes sense.
yeah.
So now, the Democratic Party prospers on the votes of the very people it has spent much of its history oppressing. Democrats falsely claim that the Republican Party is the villain, when in reality, it's the failed policies of the Democratic Party that have kept blacks down. Massive government welfare has decimated the black family. Opposition to school choice has kept them trapped in failing schools, politically correct policing has left black neighborhoods defenseless against violent crime. So when you think about racial equality and civil rights, which political party should come to mind? I'm Carol Swain, professor of political science and law at Vanderbilt University for Prager University.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
crazy.
Yeah, the whole public school system too is destroying the black family, because if you can only attend a school that's within that zip code. And if that school sucks, unless you got the means to relocate or move or attend a private school, you're kind of stuck at that school that your child is not really learning anything from.
Yeah.
We got stuck at one of them schools, can't you tell?
Can't you tell?
Can't you tell?
Oh my gosh.
We don't know anything. No, but we learning. We learning though. We a few decades too late, but we learning. And it's never too late.
Nah, it's never too late.
But nah, it just all makes sense. We just talked about this in our last video. I did mention at the end of the video, I said, check your pockets depending on which party is in office, check your pockets. And this applies. Like anytime Democrats are in office,
My pockets is thin, flat.
because everything costs so much. Gas be 85 trillion per gallon. Rent is, how much is rent? Too much. Groceries, $14 for some eggs?
Yeah, inflation just in general is crazy.
Where the chickens at? We need to have our own, because $14?
Yeah.
That's how they keeping us enslaved. And then they'll throw some money at you every now and then, thinking that, oh, they're giving us money, COVID relief or whatever kind of relief. But you do got to pay that money back some way, somehow. And this is how you pay that money back, by paying
Inflation. So we need all that back. Thank you.
Yes. Ooh, we learn something new every day.
It's crazy.